Getting straight to the point, basically, Nitin Tandon is a food stylist. It's an art known by very few. He speaks on The Note Show, hosted by me. Also, my mom says it's the best episode she's ever witnessed. So far, I mean. Maybe think about that. Anyway.
Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode. In this one, I have Mr. Nitin Tandon with me, and usually I have had more musicians for some reason, but now we are moving on to like different types of careers and fields. So for the first time, I have someone who's a food stylist, and then I told my mom that there'll be a food stylist on the show. She's like, "What's a food stylist? Hair stylist का सुना है, but कभी food stylist का सुना नहीं." So, sir, can you explain what that is?
Thank you, Adi, for having me on the show. It's fabulous that we get the opportunity to spread the word about what a food stylist does. It's such a carved, niched career. And you rightly said, everybody knows what a hairstylist does, what a food stylist does. Is something which is very less known.
Yeah.
So let me welcome you to the world of advertising. Advertising is some kind of space that helps brands sell their products, where lots of emotions are triggered within you once you either see an image or a motion, and the only time that you could maybe have is a few seconds. If you see a chocolate melt, or if you see a pastry which is gooey, or if you see a pizza stretch, that excitement suddenly urges you to eat.
Oh,
And for a brand, that is a buy,
obviously.
right? And the way you portray, the story you tell through food, the action is the journey of good-looking food.
Yeah.
And what a food stylist does, he or she makes the food look good.
Obviously. So, silly question, but
No.
I'm always here for the worst case scenario. I'm always ready for it. So, where would we be without food styling? How would advertisement be? Or would we even have any video advertisements?
So when I started off in 94, there were no food stylists. Maybe in 94, in the arena of advertising, the earlier people who were either left or they were just not around. So in a certain way, I could say I and a few other, we were the first batch.
Okay, pioneers.
I can't say pioneers because somebody else was there.
Someone had already
Right.
invented it.
But most of that kind of work was either handled partly by art department, who were artistic in nature, and then they knew how to handle a costume or a art or a set. And part of that decoration was to decorate food.
Yeah.
And if it was too specialized, like a dosa being made, and an art guy can't make a dosa going round.
Yeah.
So then you just use the chef.
Yeah.
And then it was a marriage between the art guy and the chef, that brought the journey of food stylist together. So if you best understand it, a food stylist nothing is but half an artist
And half a shot.
from the art part of look, prop, story, visual, this, and a chef who makes the food look good.
You were there when it was like getting developed or something.
Yeah, I just say that I was in an amazing time.
So that's like the advertisement part of it, no?
Yes.
But can you use this type of art in restaurants as well?
So anything that you can say that good-looking food has, then no stop. So when I was a chef and then a restaurateur and I went to do banqueting, so that is some place where there was the large application, because again there were big setups.
Yeah.
There were weddings which had unlimited budgets.
But go ahead.
And if you wanted to say that this food is Mexican and that is Italian and that is Thai, at that time, cuisines were not understood so well.
Yeah.
And pasta may have been understood, but a Mexican food was something new. Then right from costumes to setups to props and bowls were the foray to tell you that you're on a Mexican counter.
Oh. But that's more like of a style thing, no? So if you just walk into a restaurant and tell someone, I have seen a lot of well presented food, but
Those So what happened is, if you look at the journey of food flowing down, food has always come from platter to plate. So if you look at, you may serve yourself from a bowl.
Yeah.
So but in a royal environment, it will be silver plate where you come and show the food to a royal guest, and then you cut part of that meat or fish and serve it to him. So I don't think so. Good looking food or styling food has been there from the 17th century, I think so.
Yeah.
Right from the time there was a feast in a king's palace, and a king, the only way he could bring joy to a celebration was great food spreads, great meat spreads, and that is the time when fruit carvings and ice carvings were and butter sculptures. Those were the first forms of food decoration which you saw in those centuries. And then came the artist, and then came the photographer. So to a restaurant today, and particularly to a Michelin star restaurant which is showcasing food as art, it could be that white plate with excellent plating. And if you look at the contemporary restaurant, it could be a gimmick. So either you open a powder box, and within the powder box, steam is oozing out, or dry ice is creating flow of, and then you get a small nice bite to eat, and lot of smoke, fire, flame, flambe effects. And those are the visual gimmicks of food looking very, very good.
They use that a lot in commercials, no?
And that's where the flow is, right? Yeah. So if you see a wok being tossed, and the whole thing catches fire, it does catch fire in the kitchen, but here it's more dramatic. And that whole visual is always a bestseller, right? It's always a great seller too.
Yeah. That was actually one of my questions, that when you are styling the food for commercials, how edible is the stuff being photographed? Because I see that people are using cheese to make the... people are using glue to make the cheese more stretchy and all. That's what I've seen on the internet.
Yeah.
But is it actually that edible?
Both. So when you're looking at only one dimension, and the dimension is only visual, then, and it doesn't matter, it should visually look good, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to put a caramel, and you may stretch it, and the whole thing goes down, and it's not creating the desired effect, and you want a gooey thing, and then whether it is glucose, or whether it is Fevikwik or Fevicol or glue or whatever, then so be it. Then each is a magician. He is going to take any ingredient and have great joy in producing a look or a feel that you typically would not get out of a normal composition. So put your mind to imagination, and you can get as much.
There are some foods. Are there any type of food that you don't need to put that much effort to make?
So 80% you don't. And
such as?
If you take anything, why do we need to do anything like that? So if you're going to just break a paratha, or you're going to just fry nice nugget, you don't need to do all that tamasha in it.
You still have a good chef to do that, because at home I end up burning it.
Yes. So you just need to know the great way of cooking, right? And it should come out golden. What would be the right temperature? How should the crumbing be? At what temperature you should keep the product? That's more the science of food. So it's not that at every point in time you need...
That's the
gimmick.
That's the chef's side. No?
Yes.
That's...
So it's not that every time it's a master trick. I would say it's a master effect. So there are a lot of people. One is you design it, then you figure out the food, then the action, then it's filming, then it's post-production, and then the effect. That makes a master image. Or a master clip. So it's a great team that is working together.
What's your role in that?
So my job is maybe to help compose, work with the motion artist who's going to make it fly, run, stretch, whatever.
You're kind of directing what's going on.
Yeah, so there are food directors and there are directors, but when you're only dealing with product,
Yeah.
A food stylist almost becomes a food director.
Yeah.
It's like saying a dancer would become a choreographer.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, food stylist is that orchestra artist who's
Correct.
holding the entire symphony together. And once you capture it in the can, then there are a lot of post effects onto it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've also, I mean, depending on what a lot of people have told me, I've seen that they use food styling in restaurants, 5-star restaurants, to make it look good and all that. But a lot of them say that it's overrated. That using this art exactly in a restaurant scenario is not the best thing to do because they charge too much or they're putting too less food on it. Like how much of an art is this, and where can you draw the line where you start robbing the customer?
So I always feel that there is no any art is a journey, right? And point number 2 is I'll crash into your question and say love lies in the eye of the beholder. Right? You buy a shoe on the street and you're paying a few $100, right? And then you go to a good branded store, you pay lots more. And then you go to a high-ended label and you pay 6x, right?
You pay for the experience, basically.
And you're paying for the brand and you're paying for the design. And so what happens with food? And when food is functionality, you eat it. Right? It's a function. If you don't eat, you'll die.
Yeah, obviously.
Right? Then food for the elite becomes art. Because as age goes by, you can eat lesser. Right? So human being consumes 500 grams of food. Now, in higher societies where health is directly correlated to wealth, eating right, eating the best ingredient, because money is or wealth is not in question. It's the eclectic experience.
Or if spending that much money is not really an inconvenience to you, then go for it. Right.
So if you can look at a wealthy wedding, right, from Ambani wedding, as we all experiencing it in the press now. So there is no end to, if somebody is charging, somebody is also paying for it. So therefore, one. Number 2 is, if you speak about modern culinary art, where the interpretation is changing. It's like how you paint or how you dress or how a modern fashion designer dresses up. It's also always going to be controversial, and that's what makes it.
Are you in favor of that happening?
Yeah, why not? Every form of art has its own respect. So, are you saying that classical music is the only best music?
No, not at all.
Then, so you have every genre of music, and every genre has a listener.
Obviously.
Right? So, one man's food is the other man's poison, right? So, in that sense, things not understood itself make a niche. And if I'm telling you that kind of art, science, detail that you do. So I just did an event in Hyderabad just now for a very high-ended event. And you do very eclectic food, the way you present, the portions, the journey, the way you guide the guest. There are three people to one guest. Right? So if we are 25 guests, we were 75. So somebody's got to pay the bill. And the whole thing is a very visual and dramatic journey. Oh my God, I never thought this will happen. So we had this Nalli Nihari, but a very French cut, and it was with a purple mash and edamame and broccoli tempura, and with a grilled king oyster. So these combinations are not common. And then we had completely put a white paper on top, and when it comes in front of the guest, we burn the paper. It's called a flash paper. And the whole paper just burns without any ashes. So, and the whole paper is burning, and then you're seeing the dish come alive.
Flash paper.
Yeah, it's called a flash paper, right? So, and we did a terrarium dessert. So, how you get a terrarium plant where there is a small garden installed in a glass bowl.
Oh.
Like we did a dessert with chocolate and
That same event in Hyderabad.
yeah, in the same. So as a dessert, and we did it with chocolate, which is on the wine glass, which half the dessert is hanging upside down in the cup.
What was the dessert again? Like,
It's like a orange Cointreau laced chocolate cream, but the way it's decorated
yeah.
or the experiential thing. Now, there is something which has to excite, something which has to have a meaning, something which has to have a journey. And if you're eating every day, which you are,
Yeah.
and when you have a separate celebration which we are hosting somebody, celebrating them, there is oomph in every part of what you're doing. And as you rightly say, if they're ready to pay for it,
Yeah.
then what? And these are the experiences which make excite life. There is food standing at every level. Even the shape of sushi was nothing but a transparent pouch
Like a
made out of rice.
like a dumpling or something.
Just a pillow.
Okay.
It's absolutely transparent. So, somebody is creating that art. Somebody is innovating it.
Yeah.
There are hundreds of culinary methods that are modern and which we would never get out of our mother's kitchen
Yeah.
or a contemporary kitchen. The years of research to create those kind of effects to food. So somebody has failed 100 times to get something right. So that's something which we don't see as a lab effort or a kitchen effort, and how that mind would have worked to create it.
Yeah.
Right? So Alibaba and his magic
Yeah.
is more emphatic as a story. But here we are talking about hundreds of people working together to create that art, to create an impact, to create a journey where you celebrate an ingredient. And there is an entire genre of people, a format like Michelin star restaurants, which the experience is what you pay for, not only the food alone.
Right. Kind of like when people tell me that, I used to wonder, ki, matlab, Starbucks, why do people go and spend so much money where you can make coffee at home, right? I've compared.
Yeah.
I made it in a French press at home and I have gone to Starbucks and seen practically the same, right? So why are people so nitpicky? But then you have free Wi-Fi, you have air conditioning, you have the ambience. That's what you pay for.
So you pay for the experience, experiential. Today, even if you get a small box, whether it's jewelry, biscuit, cake, a scarf, the whole thing is opening the box, right? And even that box or gift box itself has to become experiential.
Kind of like Apple has mastered.
And everybody, there's 100 of them doing it, right?
Yeah. So tell me, what is the process from start to finish? How is the entire thing made in an advertisement?
So what we do is, first we try to understand what the brand is all about.
Yeah.
Then we want to see what is the messaging or story that they are trying to say.
Yeah.
So if all ice creams are ice cream,
Yeah.
but one wants to say I'm more fruity, natural ice cream. One wants to say I'm more chocolatey, maybe a Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah.
Maybe one is going to say I'm more creamy.
Amul?
Amul will say I'm wholesome, joyful ice cream for everybody. So each guy has got a message.
Yeah.
Right. And every image has to portray that. So if somebody says I'm a very premium ice cream, so his crockery will be premium.
Right.
Somebody will say, oh, I'm very natural and I'm there for everybody. It will be very simplistic.
Show a lot of fruits and plants.
Yeah. So based on that is where the design language starts.
Okay.
The scope of ice cream will stay where it is, but how it is depicted is great journey, very profound differential thinking, well, out of the box thinking as we speak. And sub would conform to the norm. Okay. Right. So, once we know what this brand is and what message it is, then we come up with a creative campaign. Then we come up with trying to make a creative process where the photographer, creative director, food stylist, brand custodian, we all get together. Okay, we can do this, we can do that, we should try this. Then they'll say, okay, in some cases this works, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Once we've debated it creatively, then we make a master image. Either it's a scribble or find out some parallel referencing from the net.
Yeah.
And say, this is our look. But in this look, we should make it darker, lighter. We should use another color napkin because the colors of our brand. So it's very carefully thought of. So the most common thing is that Vodafone dog, right? That puppy which went. So you saw any puppy and it remembered Vodafone, right? Now in all brands, it's not possible to do like that.
Yeah.
But your color composition, brand associations, more fruity means must be natural, right? More creamy must be XYZ brand. So those are the associations you keep building, and the more you repeat them in a innovative way, that works. And in this, if there is some trick, or in this case, there is some kind of artificial drama that we have to create, then that will get created.
Right.
Whether it is smoke, whether it is a artificial ice cream, whether there is acrylic ice cubes that are jumping into a glass. And I really don't know how fizzy you can make a normal Coca-Cola. You'll pump something into it.
Yeah.
And sometimes the combination of a trick along with the speed of the camera, the angle in which it is placed. Because just serving you a plain glass of milk is not going to excite you, right? Something has to happen.
Yeah.
Either you have to become God after drinking it, or you have to start jumping. And that's the fantasy of advertising.
Right. Red Bull gives you wings, but you
Yes,
fly.
you actually don't fly.